Hello, beautiful friends. It's Carrie here. Thank you so much for coming to another episode of Style Your Dreams. Today, I want to have a conversation with you that I've been thinking a lot about in the past weeks, but specifically today, it's really, really prevalent for me, which is getting past fear. Now, why is this a conversation I want to have with you? Well, the more women I talk to, the more I notice that so many of us, me included, experience fear. Sometimes if we're up to a big enough game, it could be on a daily basis. And sometimes it's not very often because, quite frankly, we're living a comfortable life. Nothing's wrong with that. But I know for the majority of us, we have big dreams, big goals, things that we really, really want to fulfill on, things that we really want to accomplish. And because of that, one of the things we have to deal with is fear. Because life just doesn't happen easy. So you don't just create some big dream, some big goal, and then poof, it just happens. Oh my gosh, do I wish that would be the case? Yes, I wish that was the case. But then again, if that were the case, then everyone would be doing it. Like life, there wouldn't be the extraordinariness in life. Everyone would just make a wish and poof, it would happen. And I guess that wouldn't be a bad thing, but that's just not the way life works, okay? A lot of times what happens is we create something we want to fulfill on in life, a goal, a vision, a purpose, whatever it is. And in order to fulfill on it, we have to take steps, right? We have to take some bold steps. Think back to the last big thing that you wanted to fulfill, whatever that was. It could be a relationship. It could be amount of money. It could be a partnership. Oh my gosh, as I talk to you, there's like these beautiful little birds that are flying around just outside my window, which absolutely never happens. So this is spectacular to me. See, I look for signs and synchronicities, and that was one telling me, yes, girl, you're on the right path, which is another thing for me that helps me get past fear. So back to what I was saying is whenever we want to fulfill on something, it doesn't just happen easily. A lot of times there are things that come up, fear, that has us take pause or stop or freeze, right? Sometimes fear comes up and you just panic and you freeze. And then what do we do then? We pretend like we didn't really want the thing. I know sometimes I've done that. Like when I experience fear, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't really want that thing. Or I say things like, it's just not the right time. Right? How many of you have said that before? It's not the right time. It'll be easier once it's the right time or once things align, or if it's really meant to be, it'll happen with ease. And here's what I have found. In my lifetime, none of that's true. I've tried it. I swear to you, I've tried it. I'll tell you this story. So many of you have been listening for any amount of time. You know, I used to own a business for 23 years. I owned a personal styling firm. If you're new to me, hello. I owned a personal styling firm in Denver, Colorado, and I would work with C-level executives, top people in their industries, people running for governor, high-profile people, to rebrand them and have them reach the next level of success, or just simply make their life easier, or sometimes to help them meet the love of their life. It could be success, could be money goals, lots of different things. So I owned this business for 23 years. And in the beginning, it was hard because it was a dream. And by the way, I created it from nothing. I didn't even know that this could exist or did exist. It was way before what not to wear even existed on the planet. It was before smartphones. It was before anything. And I made it up because it seemed awesome. It seemed like a super cool way to spend my days, is to help people feel amazing. And I loved to shop. And so I figured I would just start a business doing it. So I did. And while I started, there was a lot of fear that came up because I was starting something from nothing. No one had ever heard of such a thing. I would tell people, they would say, "What do you do?" "I style people. I dress them. I give them makeovers." They're like, "People pay you for that?" Yeah, that was a different world. Like fast forward to today and there's a million. I promise you probably know 3, or you've been to a store that has one. But back then, no one had ever heard of it. And so speaking my truth, speaking what I did for a living, what I was committed to doing for a living, I had a lot of fear and I had to get over it step by step. And it wasn't easy. And in fact, it took many years. What I should have accomplished in a year or 2 took me at least 5 years. But once I did it, it was awesome and it was amazing. And I started fulfilling my goals and my dreams and I loved it. And we were so successful and people flew in from all over the country to work with us, to work with me. And I had a great team and it was extraordinary. And then one day it stopped being my passion. I stopped loving it the way I once loved it. And if you know me at all, you know I have to love my life. I have to love what I do. I have to be passionate about my life and want to wake up every morning and live it. Otherwise, I can't do it. That's just the way I am. That's the way I was designed by God. Like I am all in or nothing. So at one point, not very long ago, less than a year ago, I decided to walk away from that business to fulfill my life's purpose, which is now doing transformational coaching and creating programs for women and doing energy healing, which is I'm super passionate about, which is a whole nother topic, but essentially moving energy. We all have so much stuck, trapped energy in our bodies that isn't moving, and it slows us down or stops us in life from accomplishing what we want. And it's the unseen, so we never deal with it, which a lot is the fear. So fear gets trapped in our bodies and gets stored as trapped energy. And then it slows us down. We don't fulfill our purpose work, et cetera, et cetera. So I share this story with you because I then closed my business down and I opened up a new business. I started a new business. And in the beginning, I had all of the same fear of starting a business come up for me. Oh my word. Probably more. I don't know. It's hard to remember 23 years ago. But I had so much fear about being known, being out there, having people being seen. Yeah, being seen was a big one because for the longest time, although you might say like, well, you were really successful at your last career, you obviously were seen. Yes, except for my little phrase that I loved to say all the time was that I was people's hidden secret. So I didn't have to network. I didn't have to get out there. I didn't have to go live on Instagram. I didn't have to have a podcast. I didn't have to do marketing. Why? Because I had already done the hard work for 23 years. So when I started the new venture, I had a lot of fear and I still was committed to doing it. But did the fear stop me from time to time? Yes. I remember sitting there. This is why I'm so passionate about helping others get past their fear. Because I remember sitting there saying, well, you know what? I'll know when the time's right. When the time's right, I'll take the step and life will just align. Because when you've owned a business for 23 years, things get easy. For those of you who are in that space, things are easy. You don't have to work so hard. You don't have as much fear because you've been doing it for 23 years, right? You do something long enough and you don't have fear around it. It's just effortless. It's easy. But when you start something new, the fear comes up. So I was having a lot of fear come up and a lot of, well, I'm not ready. When the time is right, I'll take the step. I remember telling my coach at the time, like, yeah, I'm just not in the space to like really take it on, but I will. And I remember her saying, well, how will you know when the time's right? I'm like, I will just feel it and then I will do it. Here's the problem. And maybe you face this and maybe you have not. Here was my problem. The longer I waited to do things I was afraid of, the more comfortable I got. Makes sense, right? The more comfortable I got super comfortable at only doing what was easy and what felt good. If it wasn't easy and it didn't feel good, I was not going to do it. I was going to live in a space of comfort. Well, how do you think that worked out? It was terrible. You can't grow a business. You can't grow something brand new, living in fear and letting it stop you from day to day. It's not possible. You have to take risks in life. That's what people who are living extraordinary lives and people who are uber successful do. They face their fears. They look it in the eye and say, no, you will not stop me today. I'm going to do it anyways. I, in the beginning, was not willing to do that. I was willing to just be comfortable and say, okay, well, when the right time's right, the universe will let me know, et cetera, et cetera. So what should have taken, a few months took a year. Less than a year. I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. So if we let the fear keep running our lives, we will never get to the finish line we want to get to. Forget about the finish line. We'll never get to the goals and the dreams that are in our heart and our soul. See, if there's a vision you have in your life, if there's a thought you have, if there's a dream that you want to fulfill in life, if it's in your heart, it was meant for you. God, the universe, your creator, put that in your heart because it's yours for the taking. But you have to get past the fear. You have to take the action anyways. So how do you get past the fear? Well, you stop letting it control you. You acknowledge it for what it is. It's just fear. It's an experience that gets held in your body. At least that's how I feel. Fear, excuse me a second. Fear is an experience I have in my body, an emotion I get when I think something terrible could happen if I take the action, right? Although whoever said this back in the day, I think 20 or 30 years ago, I heard this, all fear is false evidence appearing real. It's not even real, people. It's not even real. We just get so afraid, we pretend that it's real, and it stops us in life. It stops us from taking the action we need to, we want to, we could take to fulfill on our dreams faster, with velocity. This does not have to be hard, but it feels hard. It does. It does for me. Right now, I'm in the midst of challenging myself to go live on Instagram. And I can do videos all the time. I can talk into a video camera. I don't even need to, sorry, I'm having a hard time breathing today. I don't even need to re-record. I don't need to record something 500 times or even 5 times, even 2 times. I can do it once and then upload it. But for whatever reason, the thought of going live scared me for the longest time. Like, no way. I don't want to do that. But why? What is the difference between videotaping yourself and going live? Anyways, I had to get through that and just take the damn step. That's it. And when I took this step, was it hard? Maybe it felt awkward for 30 seconds. But it's not hard. It's not hard like, going on a tightrope across a mountaintop. That is not hard. My life is not going to end. If it goes poorly, I can hit delete, do not save. There are so many things. And however many people show up are going to judge me. Well, they're doing it anyways, whether it's a video or a live. So what is the fear about? I actually had to sit down and break down what is the fear about. And maybe for some of your big goals, that would be useful to do as well, is figure out, well, what exactly am I afraid will happen? And you're going to tell yourself stories about the fear of what could happen if you take that step. But here's the truth. For as many stories as you can tell yourself about the bad stuff that could happen, you could come up with as many good stories of what could happen if you took the step. Right? Maybe that's an exercise to try out, is write down everything that bad that could happen and everything good that could happen. And I promise you, it is way more likely that the good things will happen than the bad. How do I know? Because it's happened for me. So can you deal with a little discomfort in your body? Can you deal with a little discomfort in your mind to break through? Because those people that you admire, they had to deal with their fear, and you look up to them and you admire them. I know I have people, excuse me, I'm experiencing allergies today. I apologize. I know I have people who reach out to me all the time and DM me or send me emails, and they're like, oh my gosh, you make this look so easy. You're such a natural. You are amazing. I could never do what you do, which is so not true. Anyone can do anything. I truly believe that. But what it takes is doing something. You have to take the step. You have to acknowledge that you have fear, take the step, and then do it over and over and over and over and over again. You're not going to knock it out of the park the first time, ever. I bet if you looked at anyone that you admire, I don't know, if you like sports, maybe it's someone who plays sports. If you like a musician, it's somebody. But if we took someone that we admire and we go back to the beginning, like the first day they tried something or the first 6 months that they did something, and we watched them, we would be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea they were terrible. Because I promise you, they were learning a new skill. They were getting over their own fear. But the more you do it over and over and over, it becomes easy. It becomes effortless. And you start to build confidence. You start to build the muscle that says, oh yeah, I got this. I can totally do this. There's nothing to be afraid of. And that's what's usually the case, is once you can first deal with the fear, then maybe the next time you still have fear come up that you're about to do something, but you do it anyways, it becomes easier. And the third time, it becomes easier. So I want to tell you a story. If you've been on my social media, you've seen this, but I love this story because it's a great demonstration of this. So I went to this conference. I'm going to actually share the realness of this to you, which I have not shared. I went to this conference in Denver a couple weeks ago. It was called Living Brave Live. And I had heard about this woman, Shoshana Raven, and she seemed cool. She was into quantum physics and like there is no limit. We are limitless beings, which is all completely what I've been about for 30 years. And I'm like, ooh, she's amazing. I want to check out this conference. So it's called Living Brave Live. And then I just bought a VIP ticket. And then I dive a little deeper, and it's about your rock star persona, like be the rock star of your life. And then she starts promoting it as it's the Burning Man for female entrepreneurs. Now, if you've been around for a hot second, you know none of this is my vibe. None of this is my vibe. So I was a little apprehensive to go. I was like, what? I'd already bought my ticket before I knew all of these things. And then I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What am I even going to? This is not my vibe. This is not what I'm up to. So I went. It was one of the most uncomfortable experiences for me. The people were dressed like legitimate people that were going on stage to perform something, but like the audience, like, close to 1,000 women. And it was super duper duper uncomfortable for me. But one thing that I'm testing myself right now is my capacity to be uncomfortable. So I'm specifically taking on things that will make me uncomfortable and doing them, because that's the only way I'm going to grow. That's the only way I'm going to develop. That's the only way I'm going to, relate to more people, whatever. But I'm really taking that on recently. So I'm out of my comfort zone. I ended up meeting some really amazing people and listening to some great speakers. And it was a great event. And it did cause me to get out of my comfort zone and challenge myself in different areas of life. Okay, because the only way you can fail is if you never do anything. And the only way you can fail is if you don't start. That's it. Or you give up. You can't fail if you put in the work and deal with your fear and get past it. Okay, fast forward. I do have a point. So I'm at this conference, and it's the last day. And there's a speaker. The whole reason I signed up was to go hear Amanda Frances speak, who I think is amazing. She has great courses. And I've done some of her courses. And I was like, okay, I'll go check her out. So I went to the conference. In fact, the last day there was a line to meet her. So I was in the line and I met this girl. Amazing woman. And making small talk. I'm there alone. She's there alone. I'm like, hey, how was the conference for you? It's called Living Brave Live. What did you get from it, etc.? And what's your story? And she starts talking to me. And she tells me that, she was working on a cruise ship as a performer and a singer, and she loved it for many years, but she didn't want to do it anymore. So she ended up moving home and back in with her parents, and she was married. So she brought her husband with her, and they both moved in with her parents while she figured out the next steps in life. And I was like, okay, cool. So what's the next step in life? What are you doing? And she's like, nothing. And I'm like, okay, how long have you been home with your parents? She's like, like a year. I'm like, oh, okay. So what do you think you want to do? And she's like, something to do with singing. Obviously, that's my passion, but I'm not really sure. And so we talked back and forth for a little bit. And then I was like, it sounds as though you just aren't taking any action. You haven't taken a step. And she's like, yeah, I haven't, because I don't know what I want to do. And I was like, okay, well, sometimes clarity doesn't come by waiting to figure out what you want to do. Clarity comes by taking a step. Because if you take a step and it doesn't feel right, then you know that wasn't the right path for you. And if you take a step and you get fulfilled and lit up by it, then you know you're on the right path. So sometimes taking the step gives you feedback to, are you on the right path? Are you doing what you should be doing? Right? So we talked about this a little bit, and I was like, well, what's a step you could take to figure out what's next or to fulfill on what you want, which is to be a singer? And she's like, I don't know. I really don't know. And I was like, well, okay, what about going, the low-hanging fruit at the moment seemed as though what if she just went live on Instagram and sang? Like, yes, a lot of people would be fearful, but you'd get over the fear. You could do it quickly, and who knows what would come of it. So I proposed that to her. I say, okay, what if, here we are standing in line, doing nothing right now. What if you just went live and sang on Instagram right now? I gave her a little challenge. And there was another woman with us. And she was like, no, my voice isn't warmed up. There's too much too many other people. It's loud where we are. I'm not wearing the right thing. Like all these excuses and reasons come up, right? Which wasn't her, that's fear. So learn to recognize when fear comes up. So that was fear. Fear was like, not the right circumstances, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, well, if you were to go live on Instagram and sing, what song would you sing? And she's like, well, the first thing that came to my mind was The Little Mermaid. Okay, I know that song. That's an awesome song. She's performed it many times. And she's like, yeah, but I'm not going to do it. And I was like, okay, I'm trying to make it easier and easier for her to take an action. And that's one of my superpowers is helping women take actions and change their lives. So I was looking for, okay, how can I make this easy for her? And I decided, okay, well, would it make it easier if my daughter sang it with you? And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I have a 13-year-old daughter. She's performed that song. She knows the song. What if she sings it with you? Will that give you the courage to go live on Instagram? And she's like, okay. So I called Stella up. I'm like, hey, girl, do you want to make a difference for someone right now? She's like, what, Mom? Yeah. And I told her the story. I met this lovely lady. She's nervous, but if you sang with her, she would do it. So Stella's like, absolutely. Even though she's scared too, right? It's kind of a big deal. So I'm facing Stella towards the woman who's going to sing, and then the woman is faced to her phone going live. And they sing together, and it's not perfect because there are people. It's loud where they are. They weren't warmed up. It was not the perfect scenario. And yet, it was exhilarating for everyone. It was awesome to not only be there and experience this, but to witness somebody going beyond who they thought they were a moment prior. And they decided, yes, I'm going to go for this. And they stepped out of their comfort zone and said yes. She took a step. And she went live. She sang Part of Your World. It was so inspiring. Stella was great. They were both amazing. And then the live ended, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, that was so awesome. That's so great you did that, et cetera, right? And the crowd goes wild. And Stella was like, Mom, I was actually scared to do that. And I'm like, good for you. You contributed to another person causing a breakthrough just by you getting out of your own way. So she did that. And then I was talking with the girl, and she's like, oh my gosh, I feel different. My heart's racing. I feel inspired. I love to sing. This is what I want to do. That one step. How long were they live? 2 minutes? This one step that took 2 minutes changed the trajectory of her life. She is no longer stuck. So when you take a step where in the past you haven't wanted to take, when you take that step, you can't get stuck anymore. You're not stuck. You're now in motion. And when you're in motion, life starts showing up differently. So after that, we exchanged information, and I'm like, keep me posted on your life. What happens? Let me know how I can support you. A week or so later, I reached out to her. I'm like, how are you? And she's like, oh my gosh, that was life-changing. And she's like, I now got a gig at one of my favorite places, and I'm singing live. And I'm like, you did it, right? So that one step had her, that one bold move that seemed simple, trivial, in line, with a total stranger, changed the trajectory of her life, inspired her. She is living at a different frequency now because she's willing to take bold steps. She's willing to know herself as a badass, because that is who she is. She is a badass. She said yes to life. She said no to fear. She looked fear in the eyes and said, hell no, I'm not backing down to you. I will do this. I will be brave. And it changed her frequency. It changed her vibration. If you see her now, you're like, whoa, she is like on a totally different frequency. And that's what's possible when you look fear in the eyes and when you take the step. Now, I too have gone through my own steps and looked fear in the eyes and gotten brave and have stretched myself to do things I won't say that I would never do, because that's not true. I did them. But that stopped me for so long, because if you're not taking steps, you're living a comfortable life and you will never fulfill your dreams living a comfortable life. I'm sorry. It's the truth. The only way you're going to live your dreams, live the life you've always wanted, your heart's going to beat a little faster. It just is. You're going to have to do things that are uncomfortable, that you will come out the other side a changed, amazing woman that you didn't know was possible. And then you'll look back and go, oh my gosh, I should have done that a year earlier. But we can't go back. We can only do what's there to do right now. We can only take the step right now. So, and by the way, when you witness another woman taking a step, you don't even have to witness it. If you're around a friend who just got completely out of their comfort zone and took a risk in life, and you're faced with, oh my gosh, she did it. I'm not doing anything like that. I could do it. I know that when I closed down my business 10 months ago, I gave people the courage to fulfill their purpose. I know the people around me who knew me intimately and knew my story, that it changed a part of them because they saw how bold I was being in life, and they were like, damn girl, if she can do this, I can. And I promise you, some of those women took steps that they might not otherwise have taken. So when you take a step, you give other women around you courage to be brave. You give other women around you courage to dare, to take a risk, to live their best lives. So yes, you get the benefits of being brave. Yes, you get the world changing. You get all of that. But you're also making a difference for all the women around you. And I think that is important, that we, I wanted to say like rise each other up, like we lift each other up. That's the word. Like we lift each other up and support each other in having our dreams be fulfilled and support each other in taking risks. I'm done listening to women, listen to other women and listen to their excuses for why they're not living their best lives and agreeing with them. Yeah, I get it. I don't blame you. I wouldn't do that either. Well, what good is that doing anybody to go into agreement with why we should all be comfortable and safe? How is that inspiring? All right, well, some of people may like that, and that's okay. I'm not going to judge them for that. I just don't want to live that life, and I don't want to be around people like that. I want to be around people that are like, yes, let's do this. Let's go for it. Let's take it to the next step. Or someone who's like, I'm terrified, but I am willing to let you inspire me to take the step. Great. Let's do that together. So anyways, telling you this story about this woman. By the way, I reached out to her and I said, oh my gosh, you totally inspired me meeting you. And thank you for letting me empower you. because that is my superpower, is having women see their greatness far beyond what they currently can see themselves. And so I decided to create a program around it. And I'll just share with you briefly. It's probably already closed, but maybe I'll do it again. So reach out if it sounds like something you'd be interested in. But it's called Become a Badass. And what it is, and I created it because I met this woman in this whole scenario. And I saw how it intimately changed her life and the other people that were around us. So it's a 1-month coaching container, if you will, mastermind, if you will, but it goes far beyond any of that. So why 1 month? Because in 1 month, you can change your life, and it's a short enough period of time that you don't have to be afraid, right? So like I'm in 90-day mastermind, or I've done like a 6-month coaching program with people. And when it's over time, you feel like you have plenty of time, right? And so sometimes that always caused me not to take the actions because I had plenty of time. I didn't have to do it this week. I could do it next week, which was a disservice to me. So I figured 30 days, you know that's coming quick, right? 30 days happens in a heartbeat. So I did a 30-day container, and we meet twice a week with other ladies. So twice a week, there are hot seats. You tell me what you're dealing with, and together, sorry, there's a truck or something outside. I apologize. So you bring what you want, your goals, your visions, your dreams to the call, and together, nobody tells you what to do. Together, we create the steps that you could take that would change who you are and put you on the trajectory you really want in life. So there's 2 calls. I know intimately what you're up to. There's accountability. There's other women cheering you on. It's sort of like being on a high dive. Imagine you are at the pool and there are, I don't know, a few high dives right next to you. Let's say there's like 5 high dives and you're in the middle and you're scared to death to jump off the high dive. Let me just tell you, I would be. Like, those high dives scare me sometimes. So you're on the high dive and you're looking next to you at these other women, and they're like, okay, I'm going for it. And they jump off their high dive and they reach the water and they're like, yes, I did it. That was so much fun. And they're changed, right? And you watch it one by one by one. Well, it comes to you and you're ready. You're like, I want that. They look so fulfilled and happy. I'm going to jump. And then you jump, you take the leap. You're going through the air, probably screaming, but hopefully that's a good scream. And you land in the water splashing all about. And you say, yes, I did it. You raise your hands and you're so excited. You did it. You did it. You were afraid to jump off the high dive and you did it. That's what this is like. That's what this 30-day container is like, is women supporting women, creating dares, if you will, steps that you can take to get you out of your comfort zone and start achieving the life that you really dream of. And this is for really accomplished women, and this is for women just starting out. It doesn't matter. We all have fear that we need to get past. So I'm so grateful that I created this container. Oh, and then given that I'm passionate about energy healing, and sometimes what's holding you back, the blocks that you have, aren't that you're not taking steps. It could be that energetically you have fear trapped within your cells of your body, your mind, you had something happen where the fear is just trapped inside of you. So I do energy healing work to release and prepare your body for bold steps and make it a little effortless, which is so cool. So if there are any spots left when you're listening to this, you can get on the website, which we'll have in the show notes. And if not, you can get on the wait list for the next time I reopen it. And as soon as you register, you get a healing that I did in advance to prime your body for the work that you're about to do. So inspiring. I'm so grateful for the women that have joined me, So grateful. I hope it's so amazing that we keep doing it, because I know it'll make a difference to support women in this way. So, all right. So I hope you got a lot out of this conversation today. I hope you can look fear in the eye in a different way after this conversation, and you can take a bold step. If there's any way I can support you, maybe you don't want a container with a bunch of women. Maybe you'll feel safer if it's just you and me, one-on-one, creating your breakthrough. Reach out to me. I have a couple spots open for one-on-one coaching in the month of October, and I'm happy to see if you're the right fit for it. And thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, if it made a difference for you, if you could share it with your friends, if you think it would make a difference for them, if you could give us a 5-star rating and subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. And I'm so grateful that you were here. I'm so grateful that you allowed my words in your ear to help you fulfill your dreams. I don't take that lightly, and I'm very grateful. And I love you. And have a magical day, and I hope to see you soon. See ya.